Classes in session, college basketball hitting the book show Monday, February 23rd. Ian Cameron and Connor Mack with you, ready to break down what is a very small Monday college basketball card, but obviously the
Big
focus,
Monday.
exactly. The two ESPN games is obviously where the focus will be. Louisville, North Carolina, and then another big showdown in the Big 12. Man, have we had one big game after another in the Big 12 lately, and we have another one here tonight with the Houston Cougars, the Kansas Jayhawks, who will put their 40-0 record at home at Fog Allen on Big Monday on the line tonight. Looking to make it 41-0, Bill Self at home on a Big Monday home game for the Kansas Jayhawks. We'll see. This will be one of their toughest tests, though. A very good Houston team and a Houston team coming off not one, but two losses in a row, which means Houston might be chomping at the bit and ready for a big game tonight. But that will be an exciting one. We'll get to that in just a moment. First, though, we'll start with Louisville and North Carolina. By the way, we are 1 week away from our first conference tournaments. So I can't wait for that. Conference tournaments will begin. First conference tournaments will start next week, a week from today, with the Horizon League. A couple of the other smaller conferences get underway next week as well. So can't wait for that. Conference tournament season is always a ton of fun, and definitely excited about that starting up, no question. All right, let's get into the big two games on Monday. We'll start with Louisville taking on North Carolina. We've got Louisville 3.5-point road favorites, 162.5 the total in this game. Obviously, when you look at this North Carolina team, a team that is certainly battling some injuries tonight. The good news is Henry Vesar looks like he's been upgraded. So expecting him in the lineup tonight for North Carolina, which is big, and that's certainly important considering they're without the great freshman Caleb Wilson indefinitely due to the left wrist fracture that he recently suffered. North Carolina, they stubbed their toe against NC State last week on the road, but a nice bounce back on the weekend at Syracuse, beating the Syracuse Orange 77-64. It's going to get a little bit tougher here, though, because when you look at really since they've been without Caleb Wilson, they beat Pitt and they beat Syracuse. Nothing to write home about. Those two teams really aren't that good. And since Caleb Wilson went down to injury, they lost to Miami. They lost to NC State, the two good teams they faced. So, that's what makes this tricky. I mean, Louisville's a really good team, and you haven't beaten a really good team without Caleb Wilson here in the starting five for North Carolina. So I guess that would be the concern I would have here going into this game. Vesar being back does help, no question. There's another guy that can spread the floor and give you some offense. There's no question. Louisville, meanwhile, they're coming off a 87-70 win against Georgia Tech over the weekend. A nice bounce back following losing to SMU on the road, 95-85. We'll see how this one plays out. You look at this Louisville team, they have scored a minimum of 82 points in 5 straight games. I played the Louisville team total here. 82.5 is the number. I'd rather do that than take the -3.5. I think, if they're going to cover the number as a road favorite, they're going to do it by getting probably into the 80s, pretty much into the 80s. And great point by our guy in the chat here, Juice33, hitting on what I was just about to mention. Louisville can rain from the perimeter, and North Carolina does not defend the 3-point line very well. They have really been having some issues at times defending the 3-point shot.
A little bit.
For the full season, the numbers aren't great. I will say their numbers have been a little bit better as far as 3-point defense of late, but still, it's a matchup that you think Louisville's got a decent chance to explain. I don't know about win the game, though, because this could be a game where Louisville goes over their team total, but they lose 87-85. You know what I mean? I mean, Louisville defensively is still not a team I fully trust. Obviously, when you look at Louisville with the backcourt intact now, with Markel Brown, with Ryan Conwell, with what they can give you to get from McNeely as well, and Javon Hadley and crew. There's certainly a good inside-out balance now on this Louisville team. But at the end of the day, now that the backcourt of Brown and Conwell is healthy, they're going to be able to make shots. North Carolina is going to have to show they can defend the 3, but it's not like Louisville's defense is anything to write home about. There's a Louisville team here. Kelsey's squad has given up 95 on the road to SMU, 80 on the road to Wake. Duke ripped them for 83 when they lost at Cameron Indoor, by a blowout margin. So, like I said, I think North Carolina gets theirs. I like the full game over a little bit too, even though it's a high total, but I really focused in more on the Louisville team total. I think they can get over that 82.5. I just think it'll be harder to match up for UNC defensively with especially their perimeter D against this very solid, sharpshooting perimeter offense that Louisville has. C-Mac, what do you think here? Obviously a big one here tonight, Louisville, North Carolina.
Well, with Louisville, you talk about their team total. I think it's dependent on the three. I mean, especially on the road. It's been just where they've looked horrible, their ass kicked, or they've looked pretty good, kind of beating the teams they need to beat, like Baylor, some of these games, Wake Forest. So I think that's huge. We talked about all year. They shoot a ton. Top 10 makes almost 12. That's fifth. So this team's going to chuck it from three. The thing is, and this line's moved, if people see North Carolina there being bet, the line's gone the other way. Of course, here, 1.5 up to 3.5 for Louisville. Yeah, the Juice, he played Saturday, had 19 points. I think this was a little bit more. You're going to see the hurt of just Wilson not being in tonight for North Carolina, even them being at home. And, speaking of the game Saturday, Syracuse was just like we had talked about, be back. They're fucking horrible. Yeah. I don't know how much it was North Carolina's defense. It went for one of these horrible games they had shooting. The game stays under 3 from 17 from 3, 18%. I mean, 42% from the field, 25 of 59. I think it was a little bit more of that. I just don't want to lay points with Louisville. The threes go down, they win here. And if they get to that, I think the over is a little bit. Not that North Carolina is ripping up and down fast. Looking at this total, I think it could get there because you talked about Louisville's defense a little bit. I was on SMU last week, and they were able to get it done. Gave up 95 points, even though it was a very good spot for SMU after a couple losses. So I lean over in this game. I think we definitely could see some points. They're just going to need good guard play and defense from the guards, from North Carolina.
All right.
Should be good.
And the other matchup certainly should be interesting. Houston and Kansas. You've got Houston, 1.5 2-point road favorites, 2.5 in some spots, 137.5 the consensus total here in this one. I mean, I ain't betting against Houston. That's basically what I know I'm not doing here in this spot. Houston off
I will.
In a row.
I will. Fuck it. Let's go.
I still think they're the better of these two teams. I think there's a lot of melodrama going on with Kansas right now. That was a terrible loss against Cincinnati. And look, Cincinnati's playing better the last few games, but that's a horrible loss. They didn't play well at all. They didn't shoot well. Darren Peterson made one shot in the game. I'm amazed he didn't, take himself out again in that game.
Lots of drama.
The drama going on with him. It's more of a distraction, and I think it's starting to filter down into the way they're playing, on the basketball court. But I don't know if I'm, rushing to bet Houston. I know I'm not betting against them here in this spot off 2 losses in a row, and I think they're the better team, and I think they're capable of going in there and ending Kansas's 40-game home win streak with Bill Self on Big Monday at home. However, it's not like I'm rushing to do that. I was on Cincinnati too. I was just shocking that they just won that game and led wire to wire. I mean, I took the
nice
in that game, and I didn't see that coming. But I'm a little hesitant because it is Kansas. They haven't lost, at home, and here they are getting 2.5, 1 point. And look, Houston has shown some vulnerability. I ended up deciding on the fact, C-Mac, that we keep thinking of Houston as an under team and a defensive team, and I think they are still a very good defensive team. But I think there's some value in the over here, and in fact, I like this over more than I like the game we just talked about because that's
low enough.
High. Yeah, 162.5. Here's why I like this. I went back and looked, and I was starting to think to myself as this schedule, C-Mac, has gotten tougher for Houston. This is a team that gives up 50s and 60s usually, right? Defensively, Houston. But look at all of a sudden when they've stepped up and they've played these better teams all of a sudden. Iowa State gets to 70 against them. Arizona gets to 73 in Houston against them. You go and look early in the season. When Houston played a pretty challenging non-conference slate, they gave up 72 points to Auburn on a neutral, 74 to Syracuse on a neutral, 76 in a loss to Tennessee on a neutral, 85 to Arkansas on a neutral court. 90 in a loss at Texas Tech earlier in Big 12 play. Do you know what I'm saying here? I think they're a defense that's just not quite what we've seen in the last couple seasons. Just not quite. They're still very good, but when they've been matched up against the cream of the crop that they have faced on their schedule, they have not been shutting those teams down. All those teams, you want to run them off: Auburn, Syracuse, Tennessee, Arkansas, Texas Tech, Arizona, Iowa State. They've all gotten into the 70s. All of them. Every single one of them have gotten into the 70s against Houston. So the more I look at this Houston and what I saw in these last two games, when they couldn't get a stop with the game on the line and let Iowa State come back and beat them exactly 1 week ago, last Monday night at Hilton Coliseum, suddenly I think, this is not that same team that I can count on to completely shut a team down. And then you flip it around to what Kansas has done pretty consistently at home. Aside from Cincinnati, we've seen them been able to score their share of points at home. And Kansas at home, you look at the recent game totals. So now there's been some unders, but we're talking about totals in the 150s with a lot of these Kansas home games. This is 137.5. Kansas home game against Baylor, 142 is what it reached. Kansas home game against BYU, 172 total points. Kansas home game against Arizona, 160 as far as total points. Kansas home game, even the Cincinnati loss, it still got into the 150s, 84-68. So that's what it's all about with this over opinion that I've got here in this game. This is a numbers play. To me, it's just too low, 137.5, considering the noticeable decline in Houston's defending against the best competition they faced. It's not like they've been awful defensively in these games, but for a team that has given up 50s and 60s in points allowed in the majority of their games, and they've given up pretty much 70-plus in every game against a team with a pulse and an offense with a pulse, that to me tells me that a total in the 130s, given this matchup, given this opponent, might just be a little bit too low here in this Houston-Kansas game. So I'm on the over here, 137.5 here in this one. What do you think here? Like I said, I would only look at the Houston side, but I got to admit, not rushing to make a big bet on Houston as a road favorite against a team that's won 40 straight on a Monday night at home. C-Mac, good game, though. What do you think here, Houston-Kansas?
Shout out to our guy, Goracle. Louisville money line, Kansas plus 5.5. All Houston can't score. I agree a little bit. We'll hit this to you, Babano. I'll just give my opinion, even though he just wants your Babano. What do you think of the Kings Grizzly over? I would say take Memphis. Memphis team total over. I'm just saying. I know. I'm throwing it to you. He's a member of ours, Chuck Dunn, our guy. So it's come down a little bit, their team total. I haven't bet it, but I would take Memphis's team total over if I were to do it. But you want to give a little wisdom to your NBA here?
I like the over in that game, honestly, in the NBA. Sacramento, Memphis. Like they got to 254 the last time they played. I think Memphis is like 8-1 to the over in their last 9 games.
Yeah, I think their team total gets there.
Yep. I think they
get to 120.
Memphis will do most of the scoring. Sacramento will score a bit. Sacramento did score, 120 against San Antonio, believe it or not, in their last game. So, yeah, I think that's an over. I agree with that.
Yeah. And the Spurs game should be good. Spurs, Pistons.
That's a tough one for me. I got it. That game's real tough. I like both teams right now, the way they're playing. Hard to bet against either one.
I agree. Both teams playing.
I like Harrison Barnes over points in that game for San Antonio, just because he's gone over in it like 6 straight games or something. Harrison Barnes, San Antonio, off the bench. He's been playing.
You know the number with that?
It's not that expensive. It's let me just see. I just I had to posted all my NBA stuff to Dub Club. Let me see. 7.5. 7.5 is the point.
7.5. There we go.
Yeah.
Few NBA games. Touch on it. Got a shout out to the members who asked all the questions for sure. So appreciate it.
Shout out to Gorky.
Shout out to the Goracle.
Thank you for the dono. $2.
Louisville. Okay, dude. Shout out to the Gorky. Love that guy. Appreciate you, my man, with the dono and all the members. Thanks. All right, I'm going to be – you talk about Gorky on it. Houston can't score. I think they've struggled because we've seen it in conference play. It just doesn't get easy. You talked about their defense a little bit. This total's right here. So we get over money total's too low. 135.5, 136 opens. It goes up to 138.5. Basically stayed there. It's come down a little bit, 137.5. I think it's right there here with the total. Maybe it's low enough, like you're talking about.
Well, plus we could get some fouls late, like the Arizona-Houston game over the weekend.
Yeah.
That pushed it, closer to the 140. Yep.
So I just had Arizona's future with a little bit on them plus 5.5. I wanted the under, just stays under, but that's 141. You keep talking about we're betting numbers here.
I'll say this right now.
Same thing.
If this game's a 141 total, I'm probably not betting the over. I'm just going to put it like it is.
Yeah.
Bet it at 141.
Well, remember Iowa State game. We talked about that. Goes from 134.5 open to what? Basically 138. We're going to close at 137. But if you got in there, that game slipped over. 76.
Well, that was a weird one. That game was way overpaced. It was an overpaced.
It slows down. That second half.
It really slowed down late when Iowa State.
Yeah.
Up. Yep.
Yeah, that was a 83-point first half, I remember. 43-40 in that game. So, yeah, we should see. I think Kansas, just awful home loss from them. There is problems with Peterson in that we've gone over that and what his whole deal is. Bill Self basically saying he's got to play. I mean, I think they might be better as a team with him out, but he's so talented. I mean, at this point, who knows? I'm banging on them here at home. I know a lot of people, the Juice just put it, can Houston lose 3 straight? Yeah, why not? Is this Houston team that good? We talked about Fleming the other day. I talked about him. They need maybe a little bit more from him. I thought he's been really good all year. He had 17, just 1 of 4 from 3. But, of course, Sharp, all the rest of the guys got to be big. Yeah, it's the ultimate what gives a little bit in this game. So I think it's Kansas here. I got 2.5 plus 2.5 minus 110. I talk about it a bunch. We'll get into the rest of these small games. We'll hit up Ben on the questions because we don't have a lot today. We're talking in the back. I've gotten hooked a bunch the last 2 days, where I hadn't since I was telling about it. The last day I remembered it, December 29th, the crazy 3 the guy hit for Indiana State. And I hadn't really had anything. 2.5, almost 3 months. It seemed like now I just get hooked, but that's betting, gambling. When you do it every day and it hasn't happened that long, they just come in clusters and you fucking lose, which drives me nuts. Bananas. Crazy. We're past a few minutes. We can fucking cuss all we want now. Then I think it's only 5 minutes. You're not allowed to cuss.
I don't even
listen.
I don't
on
even
YouTube.
I don't even.
Oh yeah, well that's true too. So I think Kansas, the rest of these guys, counsel, they need to be big here today. I think this is just a tight game, and I want the couple of points. Because when I mentioned that, just in basketball, Gorky, I love our guy, and he plays it with parlays. In all the other sports, I get so much plus money. And some of these games, if I just feel that good about it, I'll take the money line. But with basketball, I want the points. In too many games that are too close, I talked about just getting hooked. 2 points, 1 point. And in a game like this where it could come down to it, which we've seen time and time again, I want the 2.5 points. Unless I really, really love it, I'll just go money line. But in that regard, like a game like this, I got a 2.5. Kansas, I want them here at home. I think this game is tight. Good. Plus, these two we talk about all the time. The million games, it's tough. All eyes will be on this game. Bet it live, whatever you're kind of watching. But Kansas at the house, at home, I'm going to be on them here tonight after a horrible game against Cincinnati. They talked about how bad they were. So, what gives? Houston, you think they got enough? They got the scoring that good with Houston?
Well, if they defend like they did against Cincinnati, yes, they do. But again, are they going to defend that way again? You would think not. But I think they're going to score on Houston, Kansas. I do think that.
Okay.
I do think that. I mean, I've now seen this is disturbing. If you're Kelvin Sampson and the Cougars, you either got to nip this in the bud and fix it before the tournament starts, or maybe just admit maybe we're not quite as good a defensive team. I'm not saying they're all of a sudden a average defensive team or bad. They're certainly not. They're still a very good defensive team. I'm just not thinking the more I watch them, the more they're not maybe an elite, like best in the country type defensive team. Because this is now a pattern, CMAC, where every game against a really good team, they've given up at least into the 70s. Every one of them. I mean, I can rhyme off all those teams again. Auburn, Syracuse, Tennessee, Arkansas. Arizona, Iowa State, all of these games that Houston's defense has given up. They've given up 50s and 60s to everybody except all those teams that I mentioned, and all those teams that I mentioned were the toughest games on Houston's schedule.
Hey, Houston won both times against them last year. Never remembers the crazy debacle last year. Remember the end of the game?
Yep.
Goes OT, then Houston wins that game, 92-86.
Yep.
Oh, craziness of the ending of that. I'm sure Bill Self remembers that a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, here it is again. 72 to Auburn, 74 to Syracuse, 76 to Tennessee, 85 to Arkansas, 90 to Texas Tech, 70 to Iowa State, 73 to Arizona. So there you go. That's that list of the, and those are all teams. Most of them are going to be in the tournament that I just mentioned, except for Syracuse. Syracuse ain't going to make it right now.
Not after that loss. They're out. Yeah.
I think Auburn's still going to get in, but boy, they're making it very, very. They're getting closer and closer to that bubble with what they've done lately, Auburn. But everybody except Syracuse on that list of teams that Houston's faced, where they've given up 70+ points, they're going to be NCAA tournament teams. All of them. So here's another one tonight, Kansas. So that's what I mean about Houston's defense. I think they're a notch down. They're not falling off the cliff defensively, but they're a notch down from where they've been the last couple of seasons, no doubt, in my mind. All right, good stuff. That's a great game. Looking forward to it. We know who it is on a Monday night in Big 12 country. It'll be Franny Fraschilla and Boog Shambi, of course, on the call, as it always is for these Monday night games in the Big 12. All right, anything else on the small, mid-major, small conference slate, CMAC, that you're liking tonight?
Yeah, some people had questions about these games. You know what is crazy? The spot here is for McNeese. It's gone. It went to 12.5. I want to talk about. There's not much of that left. A little bit down to 11.5. A lot of spots. But man, it's gone out for them, and they already lost here to Texas Rio Grande. That's why I think the spot's so good for McNeese, and they are 13-0 at home. This one's tough. I think they could win big. For their conference, these are the two of the better teams. I just don't want to lay these points with McNeese. I think Texas Rio Grande, it's just the spot for them. Kind of their only loss.
Rio Grande is 7-2 ATS. Yeah, and they haven't lost
them
more than 9 points at all during this time. Yeah, that's a lot.
I think at 12.5, they're the play. Might be hold your nose. That only loss I remember was at Stephen F. Austin, kind of a slower rock fight type game, 67-60. And why they've been better is they've played a lot more defense. I was talking about this on Saturday, Rio Grande Valley, where they would just kind of were horrible in years past. The old Ole defense, just easy buckets, as they say, they would give. But they've been a lot better, and they've been a team that's been able to score. So it's crazy to look at. And what was that first matchup earlier, right? I think they lost
79-76 for UTRGV, January 17th.
They were 9.5-point dogs at home, and they won. I just wanted to see, how they shot. McNeese had a tough,
more than Price number to me.
Yeah, they had a tough shooting. McNeese only 40%. They were 5-26 from 3. That's got to be better. And Texas Rio Grande Valley had a great shooting night, pretty good, especially from 3, 13-27. So, that seems like it'll go down. I just think it's a lot of points. And when I talk about McNeese, I just don't want to fade them too much at home. Fade them on the road in certain spots where it's worked out for me. But yeah, it seems like how you look at it, kind of either way. Just from 10.5 to 12.5, is that enough points to buckle in? A little bit similar to this. This team just had been covering a ton, Babano. Stephen F. Austin.
Yep.
They finally don't cover. Now they're laying a big number here against New Orleans. You have anything here? This New Orleans 4 straight road game as well. Been playing all right basketball, all right on the road. What do you think here? Stephen F. Austin get back on the ATS train, or New Orleans hang around here?
New Orleans has been, really good in the road dog role, and I mean really.
They have.
And revenge too for losing to Stephen F. Austin at New Orleans. Stephen F. Austin beat him 84-79. That's that classic situation where, New Orleans now a big road dog after losing the first meeting as a home favorite against the opponent. We talk about how the road dog and revenge after a home loss to a conference opponent earlier in the season, and the road dog is a long-term winning point spread angle. So I did actually bet New Orleans there a little bit, plus 11.5. I think that's a game they can stay within. I lean over in that game too. I agree with the total going up.
Yeah, it just seems a little bit another kind of coast it type game. This is a second home game from Saturday. Maybe we get a similar type score. That game went over with New Orleans. I know it seems like they've struggled. I think this team is better than years past, but this has been a tough spot for them. They got for the most part, their ass kicked against Stephen F. Austin.
The only other two I like are Northwestern State. Took them on the money line against Incarnate Word. It's another one where Incarnate Word beat them barely at home earlier in conference play, and now revenge spot for Northwestern. Price is cheap.
Yeah, I like it.
Minus 130 on the money line with them. And even though it's it looks very shockingly cheap, they've covered, I think, 8 or 9 straight head-to-head versus this opponent. But I'm on as a small road favorite. I took Corpus Christi. Corpus Christi against Southeast Louisiana. I think Corpus Christi is just a flat-out better team, and they've dominated this opponent in recent seasons. So there you go. I'm on Texas A&M Corpus Christi. That's about it for me with the added board.
Yeah, I like Northwestern State too. I also, I don't love it, but Texas A&M, against Houston Christian, I should say. I think that could be a tough spot for them on the road. But it's like right there. Yep. You want to lay more than 2.5 with them or so?
Right for me, that one.
Yeah, it just was a little bit of stretch, even though I think they can win at home. And I'm on this game. I took it earlier. I want them at home. I believe I wanted to double check. Lamar already won. So this is a little bit of revenge. I think not that Nichols has a great defense. They've struggled against Lamar as well. I think Lamar could maybe win again. Not that I want to lay 3.5 points, but I'm on the under here. Lamar, when they want to play a game like this after the first game over, I'll take it under at 145.5. I thought this total was just 2 or 3 points too high for sure. I know it's come down a little bit here. I want to give up to, there's some more 43.5. So in the last, 2 hours, it's come down a couple points. So we will see. With Lamar at home, I want to slow this game down. We talked about how slow their pace has been and the defense they need to play. So not a great free throw shooting team. Don't shoot a ton. So under Nichols State, Lamar, under 145.5. And that is it for me.
Yeah, that's it for me as well. Good stuff. Yeah, no spring training, Nick. Not much, unless there's something that really jumps off the page as far as lineup information. Yeah, I won't be getting involved in spring training. Ready for the regular season, though. I'll be ready to go. No question about it. Looking forward to that. Baseball will be here in a month. Unbelievable. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy
Here in a month. And we will include baseball when we do our members shows, college basketball for, actually, that's the time. And actually, when baseball starts, the NCAA tournament will be winding down. So we will be probably starting to transition to baseball pretty close.
A little bit, yeah.
Gets underway. So, yeah, we're definitely interested in that for sure. Yeah, same with World Baseball Classic. I actually might dabble in that betting-wise, but nothing big, nothing substantial.
Yeah, same for me.
Small bets. I will be watching it, though. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. More so
I won't go crazy.
Playoff round.
Yeah.
I'm not going to flock to the TV set to watch Canada and Havana or something like that. No, but once we get into the elimination round, we get to the really good teams left standing. U.S. and Japan and Dominican and Venezuela and Puerto Rico. Teams like that. I'll be locked. I'll be tuning in. I won't be doing a ton of betting it, but I'll be watching it for sure.
Well. Yeah, I might not have as big of bets either. I was kind of kicking myself yesterday. Obviously the hockey game was great. I didn't play that under bigger, the 5.5. I hit it live again as well at 4.5. Kind of when I saw the game start to be played, which I thought, but it was really good.
Yeah, great.
I was thinking about you, Babano, in that game, and it's got to be good. Canada, I get it. There's a lot of shit on Twitter. It's like, hey, Canada's beat them a couple times. Like, we knew this would come down to. And you know what I have to say? As soon as you do it, the rule change to 3-on-3 is just, it kills a game. It'll make a game go a winner so quick. You know what I mean? And we saw it there. It's just you're just going to get breakaways on both sides. I know they want a winner. I just think 4-on-4
overtimes. Yep, they don't want.
Wouldn't 4-on-4 be better though? I mean, there still will be a winner there, and you still get. I just think 4-on-4 should be
better than 3-on-3.
I totally agree.
My choice would 4-on-4, but again, they want to get over quicker. At the Olympics. The good news is you'll never ever see it, but it be anything but 5-on-5 overtime in the Stanley Cup playoffs, as it always has been.
Oh, well, I know. That's what I mean. I just thought it was egregious. The 5-on-5 is what I think so, but at least 4-on-4.
Like I said, I think the format's terrible, but you can't say, the U.S. won because they went to 3-on-3. That's ridiculous. I heard some people say that.
There was chances,
but come on, John. I mean, would you have said what you said about complaining about the 3-on-3 overtime after the game yesterday if you had won? Would you have said the same?
I know.
Oh, that's the thing. And I love John Cooper. Unbelievable head coach, but Hall of Famer, Stanley Cup champ. He's done it all. He's done a great job with Tampa Bay this season with all the injuries. But come on, John. You really would you have said that if you had won that game? The format 3-on-3, it shouldn't be that way.
Every period is different. They didn't get enough done. There was 5-on-3 there, with the penalty a little bit. And then we've all seen kind of a goalie play well, get hot, and obviously win a Stanley Cup, go through the playoffs, and just win a game like that. And kind of Hellebuyck was that good with all those shots that he stopped, and a few of them were crazy. So we see that all the time too. I know. That's how I felt. I'm like, come on. These hot takes and these coaches, I guess it's the heat of the moment, but it's like, pump the brakes a little bit. It was a great game.
Yeah, the draw was that's what saved the game for me. Was hitting the draw. Plus 310 with the draw.
Nice.
I mean, I'm doing that every time it's Canada US now. I
don't blame you. Yeah, draw.
How many of them have gone to overtime? My goodness, 4 Nations went to overtime. 2010 Winter Olympic gold medal game went to overtime in Vancouver. Canada and the U.S. So, like I said, it's hard not to bet that. Shout out to everybody, though. Daryl Turner, Nick Alvento, Mark A., Paulin Boots, Paulin Boats, I should say, DeJuice, 33, Jorge Herrera, Justin McKelvey. Appreciate everyone tuning in.
McKinnon.
Dimitri, appreciate it. FP Gotti, Gorky, of course.
Gorkle.
Yeah, Gorkle.
Shout out to the Dono.
Everyone that's in here. Gerald Jones, Chucktown 111. Like I said, Woini. I like that. Good stuff. Good name there. All right. Appreciate all you guys joining us here on this edition. Reminder, we're back tomorrow. Free for all college basketball show. And then we got you Wednesday and Friday for the members only. So again, become a member before Wednesday so that you can join us Wednesday and Friday here on Hitting the Books at 5 p.m. Eastern. 2 p.m. Pacific. All right, let's wrap it up. Best bet time. Connor Mack, what do you got for best bet?
All right. Kenny, woo. My guy, shout out, to everyone in here. You hit them all up. But man, we appreciate you guys. We appreciate all the members as well in here. Hit the like button on the way out. I'm sick of getting hooked. Hopefully the hook saves me here. But man, I talked about it enough. Shit sticks with you. It drives you up the fucking wall. Maybe I need it today. I got the 2.5. It's Kansas. Rock, chalk, Jayhawk at home. Plus 2.5. I think they went outright, but I'll take the points here with Kansas. Should be a great game. 6 o'clock. Let's get it. 9 Eastern.
There you go.
Big Monday. Let's get it.
I think what's the
plus
best?
2.5.
2.5.
That's what I got. I got a 2.5 a little while ago. I know there's 2s out there.
There's still 2s out there right now. 2.5 seem to be gone. So there's been some little bit of money on Kansas, but yeah, plus 2 is still out.
I got 2.5.
There you go. 2.5 for CMAC. Still 2s.
I need everything I can get.
Yep. Kansas for, with best bet. My best bet, I'm actually going to go to the same game and just look at the total. I think it's low. It's too low. This Houston defense, I'm telling you, every time they've gone up against anybody really good, they've given up at least 70 points. I gave you all the examples. I think, and I think Houston's going to, after a couple of subpar offensive games, this Kansas team's not a shutdown defensive team. We've seen them even at home when they beat Arizona at home on a big Monday a couple weeks ago. It was 80-72. They still gave up points. It went over the total in that game. So, like I said, I think we're going to see enough points from Houston. And I think Kansas will score on this Houston defense, which has had more problems this year against better competition. So I think it's not going to be a shootout, but I think there's enough points from both teams to send it over 137.5. So there you go. Houston, Kansas, over 137.5 for my best bet. Shout out to everyone
real quick.
in the chat.
Go to Twitter.
Yeah.
I have the Lamar Nichols play, but give me a follow. I'll follow you back. Either my account, temporary, it could be in just my
Connor
account.
MacBets. Yep.
Connor MacBets. Go give me a follow. I'll follow you back. Just want to throw that out there from scratch.
Yeah.
Follow me, Connor MacBets.
But hey, it is what it is. Like I said,
I
had to start from scratch a new account too. It sucks, but it is what it is. Not much you can do. So get the follower count up for our guy, Connor Mac. Check it out.
Appreciate it.
Make sure to follow him on his new Twitter account at Connor MacBets. All right, that's a wrap. Hope everyone enjoyed the show. Hit the like button on the way out. For Connor Mack, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Monday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we'll be back with you tomorrow on Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, for another edition of the College Basketball Hitting the Books show. Until then, class dismissed.
Peace.